one for you. And you're in an interesting place geographically. Wake, North Carolina, Duke, all that surrounding area. That's a very unique environment to be a head coach, I'm sure.
It is, you know, we're in one of the best talent-rich footprints, I think, in the country between our state and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. And but the competition, as you mentioned, to have right now 5 Division I schools and about to be 7 with App State, UNC Charlotte. There's a lot of state competition, and then you know the people from outside the state that want to come in and try to get the guys too. So, but that's kind of how it is everywhere. You know, you can say the same thing about Florida, Texas, and Georgia. Everyone goes down there and try to take their guys too.
Jim.
Hey Dave, Jim Kellner, News 14 Carolina and Time Warner Cable. Good to see you. In your short time on the job, how much Wolfpack culture have you been able to absorb, and how much further along are you in that regard?
Well, I've absorbed quite a bit. You know, I've done the caravans, obviously, that we do throughout the state. We've got to meet people in 9 different cities, and as a family, we've been out and vacationed to a few different spots and hit a few of the golf courses, a few fishing holes, had a bunch of barbecue, and it's a great place to live. I mean, I feel really blessed. I know my sons all have enjoyed it. My wife Sarah been able to get out and do a few things together. It's a fun place, you know. You can be on the beach in 2 hours, be in the mountains in a couple hours, be in a stream or in a lake, or go see some good music, eat some great food with some good people. I mean, it's kind of hard to complain when you have that kind of place to raise a family.
Dan Tortora, DTV Media. Coach, first and foremost, you know, looking at recruiting for you, looking forward, being in the area that you're in, mentioning Wake Forest, North Carolina, and Duke. Looking ahead to your future, what's that going to be like for you, and do you feel like, you know, getting people in this area is going to be difficult?
You know, everything's difficult. I mean, there's 120 Division I schools all fighting for the same thing. But I do believe the way we do things, we do them the right way. I think the results won't be determined for a couple of years when you see the recruits actually get on the field and play. But I think if you asked the high school coaches right now and followed our recruiting, you know that we've made a lot of strides, particularly in our own state, and feel the excitement about what's going on within our program and with what we're doing and what we're talking about and the vision that we have for where NC State's going to be.
I know when your boss decided to make a change, she talked about needing to rebuild the football program, but you're not in that frame of mind, are you?
You know, I'm in the frame of mind of building a championship, and I don't know how long that's going to take. You know, like I said, we might be better than I think, we might be worse than I think. I really don't know. I learned a lot being the head coach in Northern Illinois. I know I inherited a team there that thought they were great, and I told them that it's going to take you. It's a lot harder to stay great than it is to get great in this business. Once people know that you're a good team, they circle you on their calendar. And we went 2-3. The first 5 games I was a head coach there, and we won 9 straight to win the league. I learned a lot in that because I think your first year in any conference as a coach, and this is my 4th BCS conference, you don't know how good the league is until you play in the league for real. You can watch as much tape as you want, but that was last year's tape. You know, the teams are different. And so I have to get out on the field with our current talent and really see where we stand and then make the correct adjustments and fill in the voids with recruiting and development to get us where we need to be.
Coach Alex Dodd, Sports Network, Greenville, South Carolina. How has the team accepted you being the first-year head coach?
Well, I think you probably should have asked the players that yesterday. You know, from my standpoint, it seems like they're enjoying it. They're working hard. I think we've gotten better. Our team GPA has gone up. We're the highest GPA we've had in NC State football history, so I think the proof's in the pudding on that one. We have a long way to go on the field. I was disappointed in our ball security in our spring game. That's the last practice I got with our guys, so that's what I'm going to base where we're at on. And defense is ahead of the offense. I think the mentality that our guys bring to work every day is outstanding, and I'm excited about that.
Coach, as strong as the defense has appeared to be, the question marks at quarterback and uncertainty on offense, where are you at with in your gut with that, and who you're going to have under center, and whether you have anybody on the roster right now who can get you through the rigors of what this coming season holds?
Well, I hope we have someone on the roster that can do better, Our defense played better than our offense. Is that because our defense is better or because our offense isn't very good? I don't know. I think coming out of the spring, we had more talent on our defense returning with experience. I think our offense had a tougher job than our defense did this spring. They had to learn new terminology with a lot more new players and do it against a more experienced group of defense that had better depth than our offense did. So I'm excited to see the competition continue. To be honest with you, I think our offense will improve dramatically with the number of skill players we recruited. And not that they're going to play more than the other guys, but they'll add depth, which makes our other guys better. Now, if I'm Quentin Payton or Brian Underwood or Rashard Smith, we just added 6 receivers to the core. They don't have to run as many routes per day, which means they're fresher for the number of days they're out there. And if you can have depth, you have a better chance to be better for longer. And I think that's the thing we didn't have on our offense this spring. We signed 3 tailbacks, 6 receivers. We added 3 quarterbacks to the roster. We got 2 junior college offensive linemen that weren't there in the spring. Asa Watson was hurt for the whole spring. So I think you'll see a better offense. Is it good enough to win the conference? I have no idea, but it will be a hell of a lot better than what you saw in the spring by the end of the 29 practices we have.
Hi, Coach Bob Holliday from Raleigh. I want to ask you more about the process of installing this offense and look at it maybe at 2 levels. One, tempo, and then secondly, the schemes. In terms of tempo, I was surprised to look. NC State actually averaged 80 plays a game last year, one of the highest in the conference. Can you build on that? Can you average 85 maybe? And then secondly, what's involved in changing from the type of offense that State ran to your spread system?
The number of plays we run isn't that big a concern to me. It's more about, I want to go fast, don't get me wrong. But the way that we go fast, it's not always about how many plays we get in. We want to get to the line as quickly as we can. And we may go first sound, where that's literally as fast as humanly possible for a team. But we may get up there and call a cadence and then turn and look at the sideline and change the play. We may get up there and then shift, trade, motion. We may have a play that works where we repeat the play 5 times in a row and see if you can stop it as fast as humanly possible. And at the end of the game, I want to have more points than they do on the board. And if that means we ran 100 plays or 60 plays, I'm not going to get caught up in that. I do believe in the no huddle from a defensive standpoint, that it creates less things you have to prepare for as an offensive coach. Because of the number of things that we do and as fast as we can go, you can't substitute as much, which means you don't have as many substitution packages, which eliminates the number of calls you can make as a defensive coach. There's not as much substitution that can take place against your team per se, which again limits the number of defensive substitution packages that come in and out of the game. I know we were only blitzed 11% of the season for 2 seasons in a row at Northern. And we play teams that blitz 60% of the game, and they blitz 5 times against us just because they didn't want to practice all of those things against the different option schemes that we could run and unbalanced sets and motions. So I believe in that because I think when you're in a program like ours, we're not going to have Florida State and Clemson's players right away. So we've got to do some things to try to level the playing field with creativity, and hopefully we can do that.
Coach, obviously, everyone's curious about the quarterback situation. Break down perhaps the strengths of Pete Thomas, Manny Stockard, Brandon Mitchell, what you'd like to see out of each of them, what they can offer you guys right away if they're the guy.
Well, coming out of spring, Pete was ahead of Manny. He's a better decision maker at this point. And not that Manny can't catch him, but that's where we finished the spring. Pete's got more game experience than Manny. Manny should have redshirted and just couldn't because they didn't have the numbers due to their transfers and things that happened in their program. Brandon Mitchell is a unique guy. He's been behind some NFL quarterbacks at Arkansas. But he was such a good athlete. He played on their basketball team. He played wide receiver in the SEC. Threw 2 touchdowns in their spring game that they just had. Very big, very athletic, very competitive. He's a very good leader. I look forward to the competition. I would say going into fall camp, I haven't been able to watch Brandon play in our offense yet, so it's hard to say he's ahead of anybody or behind anybody, but we also have 2 freshmen that just came in, you know, Bryant Sheriffs and Josh Taylor, that were state champions last year in high school, that are very mobile and very intelligent. Both of them were 4.0 students that have extremely good football aptitude. So to say that they can't compete right away wouldn't be fair. You know, I want to see all 5 guys early on, and we'll limit it to 2. And if we have to play with 2 guys, we will. And I think every coach in the country would tell you prefer not to do that. I would follow suit. But we will do what we have to win. And if 2 quarterbacks is where it ends up, it's where it ends up.
All right, Dave Doeren, head coach.